not Trichy as a district. I was living in Goldenrao, Ponmalai, which was at that time a colony, just immediately after independence. So I was a little kid then, born in 1945. And the school I went to was a railway school, and many of my people belonging to my community, the Anglo-Indians, came to that school, and the teachers were all Anglo-Indians only, and it was a different era. So I can't, it's a contrast. It doesn't slip one into the other. It's a contrast. Now it's different. When I studied, all of them were Anglo-Indians, and it was Pakka English. The readers carried all English tales, English mythology, and the charts. They used to chase me. The teachers used to chase me. I used to be so frightened when a teacher comes to me and say, please, Eugene, do some chart for me about the three pigs, or about the Goldilocks, or about the water babies or something. So I won't be able to say no. Okay, I will do it. That's 1953 at that time. So I come home, I had some watercolors. It was called guitar watercolors. You don't get them now, little tubes they were. And I used to paint them, do the drawing and take it to the teachers. They'll be very happy about it, and they'll thank me very much. And many teachers will now keep, one teacher will tell the other, then they'll start chasing me. And every classroom had what is called a timetable. The timetable, and we wanted our class to have the best timetable on show. So they'll catch me. So I will have the timetable drawn, workload given, I'll put some beautiful flowers and some silver dust and so on, and bring and show to them. And also I wanted to show off to the girls. You see, in that school I studied, the railway school, it was co-ed. And that is why I was happy about being in the railway school for 9 years. And many wonderful memories are from that school. There are so many things that happened, so much of fun we had, so much of games we played, all that in railway school. For 9 years, we had all Anglo-Indian teachers, and everything was from nursery rhymes onwards. English mythology, we had King Arthur. Now nobody knows anything like that. But we had a Pakka, full-fledged English kind of atmosphere in the school. Then in 1959, I left railway school, which was co-ed, and I went to Campion. Now, Campion High School at that time, they had 10th and 11th. We had only up to 9th standard. The railway school I am talking about, which I loved so much. I went to Campion. When I went to Campion, I found it was a single-sex school. Only boys. So I was flabbergasted, as though somebody has put out all the lights. I couldn't see anything, like that it was. I felt, for the first 15 days, I felt very uneasy, but then I got accustomed to that, and even there was a father, Thambi. Thambi was the principal, and he used to encourage me, call me, give me paints and say, you please paint this. Whatever I paint, I'll go show him. He'll bring it to the class and show the boys, and they will all come, they will look at me. Even then I was going on doing painting, all of course watercolors. It is perhaps in 64 or 65, I jumped from watercolors into oil colors. I thought I should experiment with oil colors. But on what? If I take oil colors, on what will I paint it? On paper? No. Because the oil will spread. So I found out that with oil colors, the best base you can have is plywood. I don't know how I came to know that plywood is a beautiful, base for painting with oil colors. And I started, for a long time I was doing painting on plywood, but all copied. All the pictures were copied from different books and greeting cards. And those days we had a lot of greeting cards. When we wish each other birthdays, a happy Christmas, we had a lot of greeting cards. So the post office people used to find it very difficult to handle those situations. Today we have the cell. The cell phone has replaced all those Christmas cards. From Pommalai, very close, is Ponmalai. It's called Golden Rock. We call it Golden Rock. That was my hometown. And on the border of Ponmalai, Golden Rock, we had Ponmalai. So the railway colony is beyond Ponmalai. So most of the people came to Ponmalai, and every third house there was an Anglo family. And the Anglo families were very big. They had some 6 children, 7 children, 8 children, 10 children, and they were crowded. And there are functions that we knew that our culture was very much there even in Ponmalai. But what happened was in the 60s, many of us from our community went away to the UK, and from the UK they went away to Australia, then they started migrating to Melbourne. Now in Melbourne, you find the whole of Golden Rock once again in Melbourne. So Ponmalai today is very quiet where we are concerned. We Anglo-Indians, our community, we don't have families to interact with. And the interaction with our community, with the big community is very healthy, very important, but we suffer this lack because most of our people have gone away. No, it is the railway workshop was transferred, from Nagapattinam to Golden Rock, and then they started building houses quite close to the Golden Rock workshop, which manufactures engines and carriages, and most of the people working there were Anglo-Indians, chargemen, foremen, superintendent, all these things. They were there working in that shop. So there were different houses in Golden Rock. We call them types. We call them types, that is A type, C type, D type, F type, H type, G type, J type. Now G type is for the officers, F type is more for the middleman. Every third house had an Anglo-Indian family. So Golden Rock was a very vibrant place for our people, and only because in the Golden Rock workshop we had plenty of Anglo-Indian men working, and also on the running staff, as a guard, as an engine driver, especially as an engine driver, they were all Anglo-Indians. And I stayed along with my brother and sister, my mother and father, in G10. G10 is near the Protestant church, St. Peter's Church. I stayed there, and I have wonderful memories of that particular house also. I don't know much about that, but my mother was an Abernethy. That's a maiden name, Violet, and my father was Devas, Melvin Devas. And in our culture, in our community, when they get married, the woman takes on the surname of the man she marries. So my father was Melvin Devas. So she was Violet Abernethy. They were from Cantonment, Massingpet. That was the place where her people lived. And when she got married, her name changed to Violet Devas. And my father at that time, I don't know, he must have been working as a apprentice mechanic or something like that. But in the 52, from 52 only I remember when they came to G-type, my mother was there. She underwent an operation. She was very seriously ill in 1952. We gave up on her. They were harrowing days, thinking she will not come back. She received, according to the Catholic Church, extreme unction. That is, when a person is going to die, you give him extreme unction. So 1952 she received extreme unction, but she came back home and recovered, and died after 40 years. So we just can't predict things. And my father was a very quiet man. My mother was the more vociferous of the two. And we lived in G-type at that time. The colony. We call it a colony. Today you can't call it a colony. There's no colony there. We had, the officers had outhouses where there were the domestic helps. The domestic helps lived in that outhouses. We had what we call chokras. That is boys who used to help us clean the big house. So dusty, so we used to every evening close it. My mother would be after them and shout at them, have you done this, have you done that? And they'll run about doing things, they'll run on errands to buy what we want. And slowly once we left that house, they also went away, they were lost. I mean, we don't know where they went and if they're living still or they're dead, we don't know. So till 59 we were in that, 1960 we were in that house, the colony. Answering that is very simple. I think every artist, a poet, an architect or a painter has to love nature first. Nature has everything in it. The beautiful green trees, the green grass, the flowers. We had a beautiful garden when we were living in that G-type house I told you about. And a lot of birds used to come. My brother and myself will go out and hunt for these birds. And we had a park close by. We used to go to the park in the evening and play. And we had rare flowers, rare trees also. Those trees, you don't see them anymore in the Golden Rock colony. I think they are gone, extinct. And I loved nature when it rained. When it rained, the smell of wet mud usually motivated me. It gave me a kind of a drive to paint or to write. And I had that in me even to this very day. I love to see the rain, and when it rains I feel happy about it. Especially I like to paint at that time. And so loving nature goes hand in hand with poetry, writing and painting. You have people, as Wordsworth says, we don't have time. The world is too much with us. We don't have time to stand and stare at the grass, the flowers, the butterflies, the birds, the clouds, the blue sky, the trees. No time for all this. We are busy going about our duties, trying to very commercialize, doing what we think is best for us. I started painting, I think, to be more or less accurate, in 1953. As I said, the school teachers wanted me to do some charts for them, and I had a box of watercolors, and with this watercolors I used to do their charts. It was all watercolors. For about 10 or 15 years I was just dabbling with the watercolors, but now we don't get the quality watercolors. Now what we get is not so good, but I did a lot of charts in watercolors from that time. 1953 would be the time when I started the journey. I knew I wanted to paint so much. I loved to have a drawing book with me so that I could draw and paint and go and show off my painting in the school, show to everyone, so that I feel big. I say, very good, excellent, excellent. They all come to see what I have done. And so that was as early as 1953. I already told you I was a star artist in the school, and it is really fun because you used to get around me and ask me, beg me to draw in their book. You see, it's this. When I was in the school, and they knew I could draw. My friends knew I could draw very well, and the teachers knew I could draw very well. So the teacher, from a book, she called me the heads of different birds or the legs of different birds. There will be some 6 heads: the myna, the crow, the parrot, the kingfisher. It will be in a book, and she'll tell me, draw it on this blackboard. So I will go quickly and I'll draw it. Very fast to be drawn, and I go and sit down. Then she tell everybody, you must have these drawings in your book, copied from the board. By tomorrow morning, I will inspect it. They will all be so disheartened, and they all say, we will go and ask Eugene. And that very afternoon, after the teacher goes, they all will be, standing around in the gallery for me. I used to be very fast for each student, and they will say, thank you. Most of them I will do and give it up, and they will be happy about it. So that was their school memories. For inspection time, I was the center of attraction, because I said the inspector or inspectors will see how the teacher has displayed charts, that is drawings, illustrations of the lessons carried out in the class. So they used to depend on me for some of the charts. The teacher would give the charts of other teachers and ask me to copy that to put it on the wall for their classrooms. So I was a much sought after person, and if you are a much sought after person, definitely you will have a big feeling, a feeling of joy, and you will want to be there. And we are supposed to dress our best. We had no uniform, nothing in those days. Dress anything you want and come to school. So inspection time was a wonderful time, especially for me, and because most of the teachers would want me to do their charts, and I used to oblige. But sometimes some teachers, they go on one after the other nagging. I had to comply and do charts for them. They were unable to do it by themselves. School days, again, we are still in the school zone where I was painting, and the girls were all around me, and I think every boy, every man must love beautiful women. Otherwise, there's no point in life itself. The most beautiful thing that we know that is created is a beautiful woman, and she is the source of inspiration for poems, for paintings. I remember when I was in Royal College, and I was showing my paintings in the Viscom Media Hall. After the paintings were over, the show was over, one lady from the English department, she's a Carolite, and some of the best looking girls are Carolites. So I asked, one lady got up and asked, "Sir, may I ask you a question? Where do you draw your inspiration from to paint like this so beautifully? Any clue?" I said, "I draw my inspiration from people like you, who look like you." She smiled and she says, "I can see it in your drawings." I thanked and we sat. That's it. I don't know how I slipped into watercolor, because I was doing everything in pencil sketch, and it was in the school itself when I started painting with watercolors. And every Christmas This is important. Every Christmas, we used to go shopping as a family. Many of the families here in Golden Rock. Before Christmas, 10 days before Christmas, we go to a place called Moore Market, which is no longer there. It has been demolished. That was the center of attraction. That was the center, shopping center for our people. And I would always buy a paint box. My Christmas present, I tell my mother, I want a paint box. And with that box, I sleep. I put it under my pillow and I'll be off to sleep. Morning when I get up, I look at my paint box. And they were all foreign goods, not made in India. And they used to, I used to paint beautifully with them. So one year I remember, I bought a paint box which was 1 foot by 6 inches. The biggest I have ever seen. I wanted it at all costs. I got it. And on that box we had 100 colors. On these 100 cakes, you put a tissue paper on top. You had a tissue paper with the name of the color written on that sheet of paper. So when I placed the sheet on that paint box with the cakes of colors underneath, the color's name will be given. That's how I know today when artists ask me what to do. You have cerulean blue, you have ultramarine blue, you have cobalt blue, then brown, you have Van Dyke brown, you have burnt sienna, you have emerald green, you have olive green, you have sap green, you have viridian green, you have scarlet lake, you have crimson lake, the different kinds of yellows, ochre, all that. From that paint box, I got all the information. And I knew what I want even now when I go to the shop to buy paint, I'll tell them, give me 2 tubes of burnt sienna. But the layman, ordinary man who does not paint will never know what burnt sienna is or what Van Dyke brown is. They would never know. But I learned it at that time when I bought that beautiful paint box during one of the Christmases. That is from 1953 up to 1965. We used to go to Madras, Chennai, now it's called Chennai, we used to call it Madras at that time. And we would do our shopping, myself, my brother, my 3 sisters, we do our shopping in Moore Market. And everyone will buy something or other as a gift for Christmas. Santa Claus was supposed to bring a gift for every child. And I would want a paint box. And at that time, Moore Market used to be decorated with so many kinds of lanterns and fancy things which we would purchase to decorate our own houses. So we could not forget our community. I'm just talking from our community's point of view. Even those who are going to give gifts for the poor children, they go to Moore Market, buy them, and then have a function where Christmas Santa will come and hand over the gifts. These gifts are bought from Moore Market. Now we don't have that Moore Market anymore. It's a very sad thing. Well, I had nothing to do with the railways. In fact, it's a blessing, I think. My dad, of course, was on the railways. My elder brother was studying in St. Joseph's College when he discontinued and was appointed apprentice mechanic in the Golden Rock workshop. And my mother wanted me to join the workshop. She said with high school, that's 11th standard, that's enough. No need to go higher. We Anglicans those days, we never sent our children to colleges. We never thought of higher education. 11th standard was a great achievement. So she told me, you better forget about studying now. You join in the railways. There was an advertisement calling for apprentice mechanics. I applied. Just as I finished my final exam, I applied. But the results were not declared. So I applied for the Railway Service Commission. The letter came to me saying, you have been rejected because at the time of the publication of the advertisement, you were not qualified, 11th standard. So I lost it. I went back to Father Thambi and he said, don't be a fool. Go straight to St. Joseph's College. Those days they had pre-university. Join there. Join and study there. That's enough. and he gave me a slip of paper because I used to come first in Tamil. And among the Anglo-Indians, I was first among Tamil, and they had a scholarship for that, where you don't have to pay fees for your pre-university. Those days they had pre-university plus 3 years major course. Today that is converted, pre-university is converted into higher secondary, 11th and 12th. But at that time, it was just 1 year PUC. So I joined the college in 1962. I was never a railway apprentice. My brother became a railway apprentice, and even at that time I was crazy on painting. I used to paint even at that time. All kinds, any picture I see, if I like it, I will copy it. And I copy it on plywood. I never had any idea about painting on canvas. So I have not had anything to do with the railways. I went straight to college and studied from 1962. When I went to St. Joseph's College, that was pre-university. So the Theo Matthias was the principal at that time. Later he became provincial for all the education institutions in India. So he had a very stately appearance, and there's a very something unique I want to tell you. And I painted John Kennedy. John Kennedy was the president of America in 1963. That is, yeah, that's right. And I painted it and I showed it to him. He says, oh, that's very good, excellent. You have got the face all right. Thank you. He said, I came off. After a week, what happened was, he was assassinated in Dallas. John Kennedy was assassinated, and immediately he called me from my classroom. I ran and came. I said, what's your father? You showed me one painting of John Kennedy. Bring that tomorrow morning. So I brought it the next day. He had it framed, big one like that. He had it framed and put in one of the classrooms with my name there. Oh, what a great feeling that I am there, hanging there on the wall with my painting on the wall. I painted Kennedy, and then after a week he was shot in Dallas. So the next time what I did was, I said, okay, there's something for the magazine. I painted Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was the Prime Minister of India, and he went to Tashkent for a talk. Some issue. Exactly after 1 week, he died of heart attack. I got him perfect. Now this gave me a very big fear. I would dare not paint anyone who I know. See, that's why you look at my paintings, you will never find a single portrait of someone whom I know, I love, I was close to me. Because I have a feeling after 1 week that person will die. It's a kind of a compulsory disorder maybe. I never do that. So this is what happened when Father Matthias was there in college. But I started painting other things, so many other things. When I was in doing my maths class, I painted the trial of Jesus by Pontius Pilate. He said, it's damn good, very good. So he took it and framed it and put it in room number 15 where we had our own maths classes. So I was doing a lot of painting even when I was in St. Joseph's College, but still at, between watercolor and oil color. The Society of Jesus had for its motto, Ad Majorem Dei Gloria. That's their motto. But the motto for our college, St. Joseph's College, is Pro Bono et Vero, for the good and the bad. Now the Jesuits are playing a very big role where education is concerned and other activities also. But they were what should I say, very intelligent and diplomatic and with a great abilities to administrate. They had all that, the Jesuits, and they ran St. Joseph's College and still running St. Joseph's College. But there are not many priests as we had before among the Jesuits when I entered the college, because we had some foreigners. I must name them, I think. I had Father Bernard Coyle, who was an Irishman, in charge of my corrections when I was a tutor. We had Father Bergeron. Bergeron taught us French. Then we had Father Pei. Father Pei is a German. He taught us catechism. And of course, there were other fathers also living in the father's house. Madras University was a single university from Chennai, Madras, up to Kanyakumari. It's called Madras University. It's a very big thing. It's prestige when you go out also, out of India, and you say, I'm a graduate of Madras University. They understand. They say, very good. But now we have Bharidasan University. It came in 1980, I think. Bharidasan University, Trichy comes under Bharidasan University, and Professor Mani Sundaram of NIT, he was the first Vice Chancellor. So now we are bifurcating everything, making them, fragmenting them. We had Bharidasan University, we had Madurai Kamaraj University, we had Manonmaniam University, and we had Bharatiyar University. I think Coimbatore comes in Bharatiyar University. So the university became small, and you go out and say, I am from a graduate from Bharidasan University. We'll ask you, which university is that, where is it? All these questions. They are not aware of it. Now they are going further, one step lower. That is, they are asking for, the managements are asking for, the college management, that each college be declared a university. Self-sufficient in its own, giving its own degree and so on. We have one like that in Bangalore called Christ University. It's quite famous, many go there, and run by the fathers, of course. So now I think St. Joseph's is trying. We have recently got a very high grade of A++ in national accreditation. Maybe the next time they may ask for a deemed university. Yes, actually, I told you from 1953, when I was in 3rd standard in the school, I started, painting, wanting drawing books, going to my father and worrying him to give a letter so that I may give it in the school. We had a depot there in the school. I would buy drawing books there, and I'll paint with wax crayons or with colored pencils. I did not know anything about even watercolors. We had color pencils those days. So when my parents bought me color pencils for Christmas, I was so happy. But that was not all, because watercolors is another jump. From pencil drawing, pencil coloring to watercolors. So that's it. Yes, greeting cards, as I said earlier, during Christmas time, my sisters used to get a lot of Christmas cards from their friends. My mother and father used to get Christmas cards from cousins and uncles and aunties. And Christmas cards were so beautiful, the flowers, the holly and ivy, and the stagecoach, and there was, you have mentioned there, career knives. There are people who used to produce the scenes of Christmas with snow falling. I love to see that those paintings. I used to take these Christmas cards, go to my room, and in my drawing book I try to copy whatever I like that Christmas card, a window with snow on top and snow falling. I have not seen snow. With Trichy we cannot see snow, but we always associate snow with Christmas. That even today, when we do a decoration or something like that, or Santa Claus comes, somewhere there will be a Christmas tree. We'll put some cotton, white cotton, and make it look like snow. There's not much to say about greeting cards not much to say, because greeting cards had all kinds of pictures in front, a candle maybe with holly and ivy, or a window through which you can see the stars and snow falling, or Santa Claus on a sleigh. But most importantly, when Career and Ives, when a greeting card came with a scene, landscape painted by them, it used to be so beautiful. A log cabin, a stagecoach, snow falling, and the houses, the rooftops filled with the snow, and it gave you such a wonderful feeling Christmas time, connected with this scenery. Though very strangely, we had nothing like that in our immediate surroundings. No, I don't think using oil colors was a scary thing for artists that time. We usually evolve, you see, from one medium to another. Now with the watercolors you can't do much of shading and blending, but with oil colors you can do it beautifully, especially when you're copying the Renaissance artists like Da Vinci, Raphael, Botticelli, Michelangelo, where you have find the beautiful shading on the face, the famous Mona Lisa. Oil colors, only in oil colors you will get that finish. That was the great thing about oil colors. Only thing is we must know on what to paint. We cannot paint on plain cloth. You paint on plain cloth, the oil will spread. You cannot see the painting. So you have to put some primer on the cloth and paint with oil colors. Otherwise, no good. And I learned that how to do it and so on. Slowly I graduated into oil painting. I love to do oil painting. Only recently I gave it up. Because that catered to my, what should I say, love of painting with oil colors. I told you earlier that you have to have a base, either cloth with a primer, or you should find something else on which you can paint without it smudging, without oil going out. And then I found it was plywood. Now plywood is a costly thing. At that time when I was studying, I didn't have the money to buy plywood and paint on it. That would have been an ideal thing for me to paint with the oil colors on plywood. So I was only cycling those days. I will take a hammer, pliers, screwdriver, put it on my carrier. I go to Marakadai and I look at all the shops. One or two shops will have Lipton tea boxes heaped up. So I go and ask the man, how much is one box? He say 5 rupees. The Lipton tea, they are throwing away the boxes. So I give him 5 rupees, then I take one box, sit down there. With the hammer I will, and the screwdriver I take out all the nails. Then you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheets. 5 frames will have. I'll put that on my back seat, tie it up, come home, and I'll be very happy. I got 5 boards to paint with oil colors. And that's how I used to do many paintings. I used to do it on old plywood. But after some time I knew I have to jump to something else. Many artists even today paint on wood. They don't paint on canvas, they paint on wood also. That's also wonderful, but canvas is the in thing. I used to copy the Renaissance masters like Da Vinci, Raphael, and Michelangelo on plywood. And I was so mad about, if you want to really enjoy painting with oil colors, you must copy the Renaissance masters. So what I did was, I went to college. I was eager to paint the Mona Lisa because that is the most famous painting in the world. So from the reference section of the college, I took the encyclopedia where there was a photograph of Mona Lisa, colored. So I sat down, I did a sketch of that painting, and I wrote down with my pencil all the colors: yellow, ochre, light green, emerald green, Van Dyke brown, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, all this. This brown has to shade into yellow ochre, this is flesh tint shading into, and I came home, I reproduced the Mona Lisa. It came perfect like the original. I remember that very clearly. Among the Renaissance masters, they are wonderful where oil painting is concerned. Yes, I told you I worked on plywood, but Lipton tea boxes are sold at 5 rupees, so old Lipton tea boxes that I could afford very well. I was not working at that time, of course. I therefore got boxes, dismantled them, and started painting on them, copying, of course, same time with oil colors. I did so many paintings of oil colors from National Geography. I took the Ben-Hur famous chariot race in Ben-Hur. It was produced in National Geography. I copied that on a big plywood piece. And a friend of mine, he took it, I gave it off, he didn't sell anything. I said, okay, you like it very much, so take it, and go, I gave it off to him. So, that was not an expensive thing, plywood. That was no problem at all. I came to know from artist friends that you can do it on canvas. Now I'm moving on to the next stage. Now if I go into canvas, I must use a primer. Canvas will be very thick. If you look at all the paintings, it's thick canvas. And usually they buy canvas for karate dress. The chaps who practice karate, they make a dress out of canvas. I used to go to a particular street in that big bazaar, and I buy loads of canvas, some 10 meters, and ask the carpenter to make frames and fix this canvas onto the frames. And then I would buy white emulsion, acrylic emulsion, and mix it with the Fevicol, and then I would give a coating on the canvas, double coating. When it dries, it's ready for painting. Then you can do it. But today, I don't have the strength to buy the canvas, put it on a frame. So I get ready-made stretched canvas. Yeah, they are selling now in Tilanagar. So many ready-made canvases which I buy, pretty costly. And people do not give me anything for it. A small one like that costs 1,000 rupees. But I can afford it now. I have come to that position where I can afford these canvases. Whenever I finish with the canvas, I want some more, I go to Tilanagar and get it. That is canvas cloth with a primer, and that is fantastic for oil painting. I love maths. I love to take up challenges, and it was a prestigious thing those days to think of being a maths graduate rather than a BA literature. So I joined the BSc Maths during Father Matthias' time. Yes, he was there as principal, and I studied Maths, BSc Maths, and I used to also give tuitions to students studying in school, they are very simple mathematics. Most of the problems now were taken from a textbook by Kotanda Raman. So I used to, in my spare time, the mornings, evenings, I used to give tuition in maths, especially in maths. They come to me for tuition. Though I was now getting involved very much in English. The trouble is, when I was studying maths, what is called Part 2 English. The priest in charge of the English department found that I had a very good hold on English. My writing was very good in my compositions. So when I finished maths, BSc maths, he lured me into MA literature. So that is why I jumped. I'm a cross major. From BSc maths, I went into MA literature, but it was not strange. I was comfortable with mathematics. Now this craziness for books, I remember, came into me in 1963. We were staying in a rented place, my sisters, brothers, mother, father, and I found a lot of books which they were studying heaped up in one corner. I started taking out books which I felt I can read. Though I was studying BSc Maths, I wanted to read those novels like The Trumpet Major by Thomas Hardy, or the Children of the New Forest. So many books were thrown. I took that and put it on a small shelf, and I used to at that time visit the old bookstores. When I visited the old bookstores, there you get a book for 1 rupee 50 paisa at that time, 2 rupees, 3 rupees. Now you cannot think of getting even a second-hand book for 1 rupee or 2 rupees. I bought a Bible for 1 rupee 50 paisa, and I started reading it, and then I found all strange things are happening in the Old Testament. I just closed it and kept it up, but I started collecting books. To this very day I collect books, and in fact half of this I gave away to St. Joseph's College, and still I have some to me very important books. That is my next great passion. Collecting books, collecting rare books, and I feel that a teacher, a good professor must have his own library. Small or big, doesn't matter, because he must be well equipped before he faces the students. He should know more than the students rather than the students knowing more than he knows. So I thought every professor should have a library of his own. I try to convince all my colleagues and all this, and some of them picked up a lot of books. They had a big library as big as mine, and still books that I cannot buy on Amazon, I get them downloaded on a PDF, and I get them get a printout and bind them. You find them all there. They are my books. I still have a great love for books, for learning. Others, how can I improve my art? How can I? One has to have a philosophical bent of mind to do wonderful things as an artist. Otherwise, it's not possible. That was when I joined the Department of English. I had a diary with me. I started scribbling something, and I was reading, very specially I was reading Rabindranath Tagore, and of course later I illustrated his Gitanjali, and I felt I can write like that. I did write. I published some poems in various magazines, and I think anyone talented in one particular field, supposing he is very good in music, there will be offshoots. Now if he is very good in music, that is main concern, he will be able to write poetry, he will be able to sing. That will be the offshoots. So I find that my passion was for painting, and because my passion was so absorbing painting was, the offshoot was writing of poetry. They went hand in hand. See, I have written many poems. I got a book published, my book of poems, and I could not publish them in a big way because the publishers, Macmillan, OUP, Orient Longmans, Rupa, these houses of publication, well known, they were controlled by a community. And when they were controlled by a community, we could not figure anywhere in. You know our country very well. The caste divide plays a very, very big role. So when I wrote poetry, I went on writing and I got them typed. Those days we didn't have laptops or computers. So we had to type our poems and send it to the various magazines. They will write back and say, your poems were excellent. We enjoyed reading your poems, but right now we have a backlog of poetry and we will reconsider it next time. They send it back. Very politely they will say no. But the next issue you will have poems published by someone whom they know. It will go on. One particular magazine named Agartha, published by Meenakshi Mukherjee, a very famous person in the literature field. So I sent her my poems. She wrote back saying, I'm so sorry, Mr. Eugene, we have stopped publishing poetry, only criticism. I'm sending your manuscripts back. Then after 2 months, the next issue came out. In that issue, I saw poems. Poems were published. So she was telling me a lie. But she was telling it very, very courteously. So I knew that my community does not have that power to push me up to that height. Otherwise, I should be one of the leading poets. I am boasting. You think I am boasting. But I know my own capacity, as are my paintings. You yourself can judge me by your paintings, by my paintings. I did poetry writing also like that. I still write. I have a diary of my poems, but I don't know what to do with it because now it's online. You must type it on the laptop and send it for publication. But I have lost interest in sending poems for publication because every time I send it, they write back saying, it's excellent, we have a wonderful, we like the poem very much, but we cannot publish it. But I did write short stories. Short stories, I've got 4 of them published in a magazine called Caravan. I think they changed Caravan to Alive. It's another magazine now. But in that Caravan, I wrote 4 short stories, typed them out, sent them to the editor. He thanked me, he paid me for those short stories, and I got them published. But I could not get into the big publishing houses. I tried my best and nothing doing. So someone told me, my friends told me, see, if you want to get your poems published, you go and marry the secretary of Macmillan House. You get married to her, she will push your poems, your short stories into publishing, and you will become a big figure in the poetry arena. So I'm not very crazy now about publishing my poetry. So I did. There is one book where I published my poems along with 3 others. It's called Yatra. Then I sent my poems to Writers Workshop Calcutta. In 1981, this was published. Pilal of Calcutta published this. Then I sent my poems to New Century Book House. I knew the manager, so he published all my poems. And of course, I sent my poems to Bangalore. Then the lady, the Unison Publications, said that we have chosen 6 of the poems for an anthology that we are going to bring out. And that's all I did about writing poetry. But I have written plenty. I have written plenty of poems. I don't know what to do. I don't think even Kumar Shogara can do anything about it. Of course, they were wonderful that they brought out a book of my drawings. I just couldn't believe it. But poetry has to be typed and then sent on online, all that. I did not worry about myself. But it's one of the artful, it's connected with my paintings. Oh yes, it is in poetry. You don't write a poem just like that. Since you want to publish a poem, many of our students who want to publish in the magazine, college magazine, who are anxious to see their names in the magazine because they become famous, and they write a poem and they bring it to me, and I will read it. They think poetry means rhyme. This morning I was sleeping on the grass and I watched all the clouds pass, and then I went and ate my meals, and I don't know how it feels. Like that they go on. I tell them, what is this poem about? Sir, it's about love. Then I saw beautiful eyes, it looked like the blue skies. So I told him, you're writing about love and about some girl. Did you fall in love? No, sir. Were you rejected when you fell in love? Thrown out. The girl said, no. No, sir. Then take a poem and go. This is not a one. Get lost. Oh, look at me. So without experience, without that feeling of lostness, you have it in Tagore. Nobody knows that. In Rabindranath Tagore, he lost 2 or 3 people whom he loved very much, very close. One was his own wife. The second was his sister-in-law. So that was a forbidden territory. Many artists like that, they tread forbidden territory. It only Sisir Kumar Ghosh has written about Tagore like that. And Tagore says, separation is what brings out the aesthetic experience. A feeling of separation. If you have lost someone close to you, that feeling of loss, the pangs of loss, will start, that creative power, that creative energy will come out of you in painting or writing poetry, anything like that. Not Catholic students in Trichy, but Catholic students in the college. We had a unit called Catholic Students Union, CSU. Now, there's a priest in charge of this unit, and they have a staff advisor. So I used to be called the advisor, and we used to conduct seminars for these Catholic students. Sometimes we go out on some excursion, and since it is Catholic Students Union, all the subjects that we concentrate on will be about Christianity. But after some time, after about 4 or 5 years, I somehow got disillusioned about it, and I gave it up. Somebody else took over as staff advisor for the Catholic students. And of course, I met her in 1970, I think, yeah. See, in college, we have, just as we have the Catholic Students Union for the students, we have a human association for the staff. So, all Catholic staff were members of that human association. And Father Lawrence Sundaram, who was the head of the Department of English at that time, he used to see to it that all attend this particular association meeting. We had many meetings, and people used to argue about many questions concerning the Bible, concerning Christ, and concerning and everything. We have elderly people, and Holy Cross College used to join us. The staff of Holy Cross College. She was then, I think 71 or so. She had just finished a BA Literature. So she was working as a tutor there. So she came along with the staff. She joined this Newman Association. So one day when we had a meeting in our college, she also came. I was looking at her. She was looking at me. She's not like as you see her now. She was very lean, very thin, and she'll walk slowly, very gentle pace. I liked all that. And when the meeting was over, she went to the bus stand, that is the Golden Rock, Punmalai bus stand. That was opposite Padma Cafe. Now today it's called Rasika Rachana Sabha. Opposite. So I caught up with her and I said, how are you, this and that. And then I told her, I'm coming to your home. She got a shock. She was wondering, because they were all very, orthodox kind of people, and they don't like someone coming like that suddenly. She said, why? No, I just want to come and see all of you. She has 2 other sisters and 3 brothers. So I jumped into the bus with her. I got on at the same stop where she got on. I walked with her. We went into the house. Her parents were surprised. Who's this fellow? So I sat and I talked and talked and talked and talked. Then I met her again at the bus stand. I asked her, what your parents think of me? They say, you're a big chatterbox, always talking and talking, never stopping. Then I used to frequent the place. We used to come again and again. And then we used to go out on walks. Golden Rock is a beautiful place to go walking. So I like that. In 1971, a betrothal took place, what we call engagement. And of course, in 1972, I married her. Yeah, my wife was very generous in that way. She let me have a lot of time for myself. Even to this very day, of course, my daughter, I used to take her to school and bring her back and all that. But sometimes in the mornings, especially after retirement, I come up here, I do the painting, she's alone down, but she doesn't mind it. And she tells me, I feel so lonely, I'm alone. You're going on top and what is this? I don't know what to do. So I will tell her, see, I'm going up early, 9 o'clock. By 12 I'll be down. I stay a little longer, by 12:30 I'll finish my painting and go down. So that way, I think she's a very good, gentle lady, beautiful wife I have, I cherish. And I like the way she encourages me. I think quietly and in her heart, silently, she is very proud of me that I can paint well, I can write well, and now in next week they are going to honor me in St. Joseph's College in the Alumni Association. You must have heard about it. They are celebrating 175 years of all the well-known alumni of St. Joseph's College. I am one of them. So I am going to receive a special award on Friday. So all this she doesn't tell me, but I know she is very proud of it. That way I am happy. No, I don't have any fondness for bikes. I had a Luna, then I had a kinetic counter, then I went into a Chetak, then I got a, what is this? When I was teaching in St. Joseph's College, I was about to retire in 2003, so I retired. And I told the boys, I am going to ride a Pulsar. At that time, Pulsar nobody would dare ride. It's like the Royal Enfield. It's a big bike. The Pulsar is a big one. And I was already 58. And they laughed. I said, no sir, you are simply playing the fool. But before that, I caught the mechanic. We went to the Bajaj showroom, picked up the Bajaj of those days is different from the Pulsar of those days, but different from what it is today. So mine was a wonderful heavy bike, and I rode and went and kept it in the St. Joseph's College parking lot. All the boys saw it, and when I entered the classroom, I saw they had already written the name, registration number of the bike, but I pretended I didn't see it. I carried on with the class. Only that I remember. I didn't have much of fondness for bikes. Now, when I was painting with oil colors, I tried out acrylic colors, but acrylic colors you can't do shading. You can't go from dark to light because it dries in 1 minute, as fast as that. Oil colors will take 2 days to dry, so you can go on shading. And then I went for an exhibition conducted by the Kumbakonam Arts College, and I asked one of the artists there, how do you paint with acrylics? He said, when you paint with acrylic colors, you have to paint twice. Not once, won't do it, twice. So I said, okay, let me try. I bought acrylic colors and I started painting. When I started painting, I found it was very convenient because water was the medium. Whereas oil colors, you have linseed oil and turpentine. You wash the brush in turpentine and you mix the colors in linseed oil. But now it's just plain water. And it is brighter than oil colors. And not only that, I saw that people, artists all over the world, they were now experimenting with different types of colors, not oil colors anymore. So it was acrylic colors. And I also saw that the representational kind of painting which you do with oil colors is no longer a part of the art scenario. So I went into acrylic colors and I started experimenting. That you can do with acrylic colors. You can break up your images, you can break up your figures, and you can only put blotches of paint. It's difficult to do a portrait with acrylic colors, but I think it's more satisfying to me than oil colors. So from about 10 or 15 years now, I'm doing only all this. What you see now is acrylic colors. I buy acrylic colors and different techniques I use. I have a bottle of chemical bottles, fill them with different colors. That idea was given to me by the Care School of Architecture, one of the ladies. She says, you fill them with the color and sprinkle it on the canvas. And that's what artists were doing in the West. So I said, why can't I do it? If they can do it, I can do it. So you will see, we have slowly moved in what we call representational art into non-representational art. So I am now in the second field. I can't go back to representational art. Representational art, you have landscapes, you have portraits, you have things that you can, vase of flowers. These are all things that we know, we understand, we give a meaning. But when you go into the non-representational kind of art, you don't have something which the other person can understand. There's no longer understanding. We have done away with understanding when we approach non-representational art, or what I call abstract art. You can see some of them outside, have I done. So it's all abstract, and I love to play with different forms. So you have seen that, the designs and so on. That is acrylic. I think I am happy with acrylic colors. I won't go back to oils. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Laptops, cell phones, computers, they have almost replaced the human being, the touch. So today you find the people talking to someone far away on a cell phone rather than talking to someone standing next to him. So when I was teaching in college, we had no computer, nothing like that. I studied, took my books, I read them and went to the class, delivered a lecture, maybe gave them some notes also and came back. But today the students are having cell phones, the professors are having laptops, and they're all seated separately, they're all seated very quietly, they're all seated like robots, typing something, some data. The UGC wants some data. What percentage of passes, what percentage of failures, what are the new courses you have introduced, what are the courses that you have thrown away, all sorts of rubbish the UGC wants, so they go on typing. And I don't know if they are reading much. A few of them are, yes, I know, youngsters who are buying books and reading. Then now they say, why should I buy books? I got it all on Google. If I want to read a book, I go to Google, it's there on the laptop, I read it. Why should I have a library of books like this? That's what they say. But that somehow I love this culture of books. By doing research, to hold the book in my hand and read it was an experience. It was an aesthetic experience. And that human touch was there when we did not have all these gadgets, like a cell phone especially and a laptop. That now has divided us from our own humanity. We have become robots. That is now talking to us. We are not talking to people, but the machines are talking to us. You go now, you want cash, you go to ATM, you press a button, welcome to Canara Bank. To continue, press this button, you press. Enter the amount, that keeps talking to you. So the machine is talking, you are not talking to anyone. If you want money, you go to the ATM, machines are doing the talking. So it's a very scary situation as education is concerned, that we are slowly losing that quality of camaraderie, of going out to the other, holding hands, going for a cup of coffee, having some fun, cracking some jokes. We don't have that anymore. Yes, we were a very happy lot. You know, my colleagues and I, we were 23 in number. So all of us had different opinions about certain things. Some of us thought alike and so on. And very close to our department away, you had the vice principal's room. The vice principal had a peon to attend on him. So we will be talking and arguing and then laughing. Then we crack jokes, and they know that it's the English department that is creating so much of ruckus, the noise that we make and all. So once the peon came and told, sir, நீங்களெல்லாம் ரொம்ப சத்தம் போடுறீங்க, பிரின்சிபல் சொன்னாரு கொஞ்சம் அமைதியா இருக்கணும். சரிப்பா. So all of us stayed quiet after that. Then once again we started talking. Now if anybody wants to go to the main building, they have to cross our department, the passage adjacent to our department. So we were talking and laughing and shouting. It must have been about 12 o'clock. The principal crossed. He crossed and he was wondering what's the noise. So he had a beep inside. So he had a beep and all kept very quiet from his side. Yeah, and he went away. This was a wonderful memory. Yes, a lot of people I know. There is one professor of architecture in NIT on Manika Vasaram. He is a good friend of mine, and he is an excellent artist. And all his paintings you find in Breeze Residency. And he was a professor of architecture in NIT. So when NIT has a festival, Knit Fest, cultural festival, he used to call me to be one of the judges. That's one good friend I had. Then of course in the college there was a very big, a priest who became a provincial and then archbishop. He loved art, so he used to send me some pictures about French painters and so on. He was a very good friend of mine also, and I don't think there was anyone like that so outstanding, but many know that I paint well, and I get so many comments on Facebook also when I put my paintings on Facebook. There's no special kind of friend I had to appreciate my art and to talk about art, except that the man I said from NIT. Yes, Being an artist, of course, makes you an outsider in society, which means you don't want to conform to rules and regulations laid down by society. It is inherent there in every artist who writes well and paints well. He is an outsider, and I feel that being an outsider, we are not restricted by any kind of a framework. There is no rigidity. So it is so flexible. We have our own freedom. We fight for our freedom, and then in that freedom we create what we want, and that gives us a great joy. And we feel that this gift is something unique, and we should not be just giving it away or making just some children, they paint, but that's a passing phase. The parents just encourage them in the school, finish. But for me, it has been lifelong. It has been very much a part of my nature. And if anybody does not know me, they will say, that man who does painting is an artist. Oh yes, that man, that we know. He lives in Golden Rock from Malapati. So I have received I got my identity through my painting by being an artist, and I am free to express whatever way I like, whichever way I like. And my two great influences were Pablo Picasso, artist who experimented with Cubism, and Salvador Dali. He was a man who was an exponent of surrealism. That is, when you dream, you dream of so many things, and you are not able to understand what you dream, and there are figures in the dream, and those figures you bring it to your canvas. You put it on a canvas. Now what they say, what psychologists say, and what art critics say, when you do that, what Dali does, you are tapping into the unconscious of the artist. Because the conscious world, the intellectual world, uses language. Yes, questions are asked on the basis of language. But we have now crossed the barriers of language. We are no longer trapped by language, by the norms laid down by society. We have gone beyond that. We want to challenge that, and we want to express ourselves, at least showing that we have seen something more than what you have seen, and that matters most to us. That is surrealism. It is only from surrealism, the dream landscape, we come to abstract art, and that helps us to delve deep into what today we call the unconscious. So what you are doing now is only the conscious self, which is a tip of the iceberg. We are using brains only 1/10. 9/10 is buried underneath. That comes up when you dream. Now if you can capture that landscape on a painting, that's what Salvador Dali does. So he impressed me a lot. And now I started breaking up my figures, painting colors, now going into pure design. Just design. Not putting any figure that we know, nothing like that. I like to play with forms, designs. After all, even a man or a woman is a design. That's all. So it's that. We have to tell them, we have to explain to the world, to the people who come for the exhibition, that I am what I am. I don't want to be what you want me to be. No. All my abstract paintings are there. I think they won't take it, what should I say? They won't take it well. They will say this fellow's a crazy guy. We don't mind. We prefer to stay crazy and make some new creations. I started painting, illustrating Gitanjali way back in 1975 or so. But then it was not that good, and I introduced the Gitanjali in our syllabus. It is such a wonderful piece of literature, and I don't know why professors and students don't talk much about it, don't read much about it. Because everything you want to know about God and man and the world around and nature around, the images that convey these connections between you and the unknown, they're all there in the Gitanjali, and nature plays a very big role in that. So when I retired, I once again started the illustrations of the Gitanjali, 103 lyrics. I could not afford to bring it out as a book, one side the illustration, one side the text. So I got it done on a DVD. Now I have given the DVDs to my students. Wherever I go, I carry it and I show them my illustrations. But it's the most beautiful piece of literature, and somehow we Indians don't seem to be proud of that. We go in for Western stuff and we think very great of Western authors when we have great diamonds within us in our country. Aurobindo is there, Rabindranath Tagore is there. So that's, I still love to read passages from the Gitanjali, and when I was in college, I used to teach the students those lyrics from the Gitanjali. I have conducted plenty of solo exhibitions of my paintings in various schools, in various colleges, even in St. Joseph's I had a one-man exhibition. I remember in 1975. Then in 2002 I had a very big exhibition in Auxilium College, below, that is Katpadi, because my sister-in-law is there. She is working in the Department of English. Presently she is the head of the department, and they took all my paintings by van, had it displayed there. They had posters put around, and I sold a lot there. And when in that particular building, they would not allow anyone. They said 5 rupees at entrance fee. The nuns were running the college, and they wanted the entrance fee 5 rupees. So many came from schools and this and that. And when the exhibition was over, they had made 17,000 rupees just by entrance fee. Unfortunately, something happened in the college and they had to wind up. It was to go on for 3 days, but one day we had a big crowd. The next 2 days it was pretty small, but I had it in Loyola College. Loyola College, we had an exhibition there, and then I gave a talk on the Gitanjali there. So exhibitions are plenty. Now St. Joseph's College has promised to have an exhibition of my paintings in early October. So I'm waiting for that. Yes, whenever some association or some artist holds an exhibition, I go, because when I go there, I can learn something. I can find out some new technique maybe he has been using. So from that I could come and experiment in my place, and I don't miss it. And I know among these, this fellow is an artist. This fellow is only an amateur. It's not. It's very easy. You can find out. We have an association called United Painters Association. They have their exhibitions every year, but they have, now you understand what I'm saying. When they exhibit, most of them are elderly people. All the paintings will be portraits, landscapes, nothing more. So if I show them my painting, they'll ask me what that is. No, we cannot include it in our exhibition. Beautiful ladies, people are swimming, Krishna, Ganesha, Jesus, or some landscape or some village scene. They paint like that, but beautiful, exact, perfect, with all the details all along. I will watch everything, I'll talk to them and get some tips, and then I'll try to use them when I come. In fact, I came across some of the discourses of Osho, that is Bhagwan Rajneesh. He is a brilliant mind. Brilliant means brilliant. And he says so many things that people don't like him because he goes directly to the truth. So he had some special powers. He had a big following. He went to America. He was accused of poisoning people there, but he didn't do it. It was all the ladies in the group that did it. And then he came back to India and died in Pune. So I read some of his books. His books you find full here in my library. Then I watch Jagi Vasudev, that Sadhguru. I listen to his talks and some of the Swamijis who talk on mysticism, about God and so on. But still it's very difficult to conclude. There are atheists. They say belief in God is rubbish. It's nothing. It's created by man, this religion. But I don't believe. I believe there is some energy, there is some power which connects all of us and which is all for the good of us. It is there, and we have tried to we must try our best to connect with that power. That's all, nothing else.